Hello and welcome back to the Thought Leader Career Podcast. I'm Sam Bylett, and today I'm joined by Troy Parker, CEO at Innovative Labour and Cleaning Services. Troy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, Troy. Can you start by giving everyone a quick overview of what Innovative Labour and Cleaning Services is all about?
Okay, Innovative is a full-service staffing company providing skilled and unskilled labor in various industries. It can be manufacturing, construction, or retail. And then we also, in the construction space, do final cleaning on new construction, or if they remodel something or renovate it, we also do final cleaning in the construction space.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, well, we chatted before. You have an incredible story, starting a business out of a halfway house with just $500. Yeah, can you take us back to that moment that made you believe that even this was possible?
Well, when I was in prison for 7.5 years, I was sentenced to 10 years for bank fraud. And while I was in prison, I mean, you go through your highs and lows, but probably 2.5 years in, I started really thinking, okay, what am I going to do when I get out? And I saw that in the prison setting, the inmates performed pretty much all the tasks that it took to run the prison. From not just, a lot of people think like just running the kitchen, but no, they did carpentry, asbestos removal. I was at a prison that had an actual call center that interacted with, the free world, running the boiler. So I felt if the inmates or these people could do these jobs in prison, why couldn't they do them when they return to society? And I noticed a lot of time you'll see someone leave and come back. And, you sit there 7.5 years, you see a lot of guys leave and come back. Whenever I'd ask them what happened, I always said I couldn't find a job, and either they would start using drugs or they would go commit a crime. That was their biggest hurdle. So I came up with the idea to start a company that would hire predominantly returning citizens and put them, in jobs. And I figured the easiest space to do it in would be the construction space.
Yeah, wow, that's such an amazing story. So you mentioned the construction spaces where you're mainly targeting right now. Are there any new industries that you've keeping your eye on?
I mean, when I first came home, I was mainly construction. Now we're getting into more manufacturing and other areas. When I first came home, I mean, I limited because I had no office. I was in a halfway house. So I would actually just go to the library, use their computer, do my bids. And then when I got my first account, it was like 2 weeks after I came home, even know how I was going to pay the people. They started working, and I knew in 2 weeks I had to pay them, and I had no way to pay them. Then I asked my first client, if I gave you a 2% discount, I, get paid every week. And he said yes. So I began to, do that to help fund the business. Over time, we've gotten into other areas where, we'll we'll do deliveries or help companies that do deliveries. We'll do some hospitality. So we're starting to get into other industries, but there's plenty of growth, not just here in Ohio, but just across the United States.
Yeah, for sure. And what's your kind of go-to way of landing new clients?
We do a lot. Word of mouth is probably the best. I've gotten a lot of business where, you do business with a person, and either they'll tell somebody or they'll leave a company. People aren't staying at companies like 20, 30 years like they used to. So a person, if you know somebody and you met them in like 2015, when I came home from prison, a lot of people have switched jobs now. It's 2025, maybe 3 times. And they've called me from 3 different companies. So people will go to a job, stay there 2, 3 years, and then go somewhere else. So word of mouth. We do email marketing. We send out, cold emails, things like that. LinkedIn. I had a lot of success with LinkedIn, but really, to be honest, I haven't done a lot of it. Those are probably the 3 main ways.
Yeah, for sure. And if you could fix kind of one growth challenge right now, what would it be?
Say for myself, it's in a lot of business people I talk to would probably be cash flow. A lot of times there's a lot of opportunities, and I got to turn some down just due to cash flow, because you might have like $800,000 on the books, but you don't have it. And then, if you keep going, you run out of cash and you can't make payroll. So a lot of times it's cash flow, because in construction and really now in any industry, people don't necessarily always pay net 30. A lot of people are net 45. I think Procter & Gamble, they're doing something like, they told me it's like net 90 or longer. So it all depends.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of founders hit the wall when it comes to scaling. How are you juggling that day to day with planning for the future?
Plan for the future. Well, I had created an app. It's called Staff Up, and it was I first came home from prison. I had a little app where I had my schedule on. Then I had another app to keep my employee schedule. I had app called T Sheets that tracked the employee's time. Then I had Invoice to Go that did the invoices. And so I basically started in, I think, 2017 to create Staff Up, which is basically an end-to-end business solution. The App Store now also have a want to pitch with Paycor, the payroll company, where it's in their marketplace. But the app allows staffing companies to get on one side, and then customers can come and use the app, request bids from maybe three different staffing companies. And then once you pick the staffing company, that staffing company is able to schedule their employees, send the employee out, and then they'll be able to tell where they are geographically, because a lot of theft that can happen in staffing, where people will say, "Hey, I got here at 8," but you see they clocked in on the highway, at 7, 7:30, but they say and so they'll lie about that, or in the paper sheets, they'll turn a 6 into an 8. This way, with the app, you'll know, one, when they actually got there. Two, it creates a ticket, electronic ticket, so it would send that ticket to you. And you could do it electronically, and there's no losing the ticket or them altering the ticket, and then it's held in a batch and then invoiced at the end of the week. So it's kind of an end-to-end solution. It allows you to be able to manage things from not just here, whether I'm in Ohio, I could be anywhere. So that's what
Yeah.
helped create to scale the business.
Yeah, sounds like a very yeah, helpful app for sure. Labor is like a huge part of your business. How do you find good workers, and also how do you keep them?
Well, good workers, we always have a steady supply of workers. Like I always tell people, I always have more work. I have more workers than I have work, because people are constant. Because word of mouth has gotten out that, okay, hey, it's a second chance company, and there's so many people who need a second chance now. Come in. I mean, you do the basics. I mean, everybody looks at their presentation. A lot of it, I mean, just from being in prison, and so when people come who are maybe lower income individuals, I don't care if they're black low income or white low income, you can kind of tell by their demeanor, are this person really ready to work, or are they just working because they have to get a job for their PO, or are they working because they got in trouble and they have to go to court? I mean, you can kind of feel them out. So I mean, I look for somebody who's, one, that's had a problem. It looks like either they're trying to change or they have changed. Whether it's substance abuse, we get a lot of people out of recovery centers that they say, "Hey, I had a problem for 8 years with XYZ drug." But you can usually tell if they're doing the basic things, like, okay, their presentation, they have transportation, or they're working on getting it. Because that's another thing we do is, if they're working to get their transportation, if they come up with half the down payment, I'll lend them the other half, and then I'll take it back in small chunks as they get paid. Because the whole purpose of the company is to get people who've been marginalized and left behind, to give them an opportunity, not just a job. The job's just one pillar. They need a job. They're going to need a place to stay. They're going to need other supports like mental health. So it's trying to build a holistic program for them. And the job's just the first part where I can get my hands on. So I'm looking for a person who, one, willing to change or has changed, will take direction. Not saying we know everything, but I have been there, and I try to talk about things that I know about. Like I tell guys when they come out of halfway house, go get your place of your own. Don't move in with a female, because it never works out. Because I've seen so many times a guy will get out, move in with a female, think everything's great, but he's only been out of prison for like 3 months, and he's been locked up 10 years. He's going to be interested in other females, and it's not going to go right, and then they get kicked out. So I always tell them it's little things like that. But I look for
Yeah,
people who will take direction, that realize that, hey, they need help, and they're wanting to help, and then we try to assist them, to help them build back. Whether it's a relationship with their family, whether it's a relationship, with some other, maybe somebody that they had committed a crime against, whatever it might be. We try to help them, provide the steps or ways or ideals to mend those fences.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you've been there and done it, so they should definitely listen to you. And look where you are now. So yeah, you're a great role model for them guys and girls for sure. The labour market has been obviously really unpredictable lately. Are you noticing any big changes or challenges on your end?
A lot of changes. I mean, there's recruiting. A lot of people have moved to AI recruiting. They can they can interview and go through more people faster. I met a gentleman this weekend who even has like a hiring system that even takes out biases, so that it's just grading the person based on just their merits. Things like, gig hiring. A lot of people are trying to just get the people when they need them, and not just having bodies sitting around. There's big changes with the DEI created a lot of changes, which, I mean, all that coming 2 years ago. Told people, hey, that's not people. They're not going to keep doing this. So a lot of people, there's a lot of opportunities also.
Yeah, sure. And everyone talks about company culture, but what does that actually mean to you?
Company culture is really basically, culture is the same whether it's company. I mean, whether you're talking about a company or a group of people. Companies in the U.S. or companies are going to be people are going to hire like people. You get to some of your Fortune 500 companies, and even with just talking about diversity, people are instinctively and habitually, they hire people that they can relate to. If Bob, middle aged, eight, to the country club, he's going to hire people who are like him. It's just how people are. And I know I hear black people talk about, oh, we don't do this, and blah blah blah. But black people do the same thing. If I go to a mixer, a meet and greet thing, I notice all the time, and I sit back and look. And when I give a speech, I always tell people, I noticed that, hey, all the blacks sat over here, and all the whites were over here. Now, I asked you all, how many of you were standing around people you did not know? Raise your hand. Nobody raises their hand because people are going to click up. That's just how we are. We go where we feel comfortable. People don't really do things that make them feel uncomfortable. And one thing I learned in prison, because I took a drug rehab, 9-month intensive drug rehab when I was in prison, and they would constantly make you do things that made you uncomfortable. People always ask me, like, every time you come in, you'll have a stack of business cards when you come to a meet and greet. I'll go around the room and I'll give a card to every person. It was uncomfortable at first. Now I have it down to a science where I'll go around and give a card to every person. Now, most of the time, if I pass out 100 cards in the time I'm there, I'll probably only get back 20 cards, because most people don't even remember to bring their card. People, I mean, they do what they feel comfortable. It's hard for people to do things that are uncomfortable for them. So when you talk about culture, most companies are going to be however the owner is, or the president and vice president, the company's going to go. That's going to be pretty much the culture. If they're more lively, more friendly, this and that, but they're going to hire people that are more like them. You're not going to get a middle-aged white person who it makes I mean, over six figures or whatever. He's not likely going to go hire a low-income African American. It just doesn't happen like that, because their minds don't work like that. So you have to get, like, in our company, we have a rule. We go for a black person, white person, Hispanic, and then we just go like that. I mean, but you have to force it to, if you really want diversity. But that's just something I learned in prison. I mean, I was used to a diverse background, so I was around a lot of people. So I keep my company like that. I don't just hire black people. I'll do the same thing for a white person. If they need rent money, and I got the down payment, they got their half, I'll give them the other half. I don't care about the skin color, but made myself do these things because I saw that, hey, it's something you have to work at, just like anything else.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely for sure. And on tough days, what keeps you going? What drives you to keep pushing forward?
Looking back and see where I came from, see where you came from, and you see where you are, and you're like, okay, hey. And then most days, I mean, when you've been to prison and you've had everything stripped away from you, that's probably about the lowest you're gonna go. Most things that happen most days, there's just like water over a duck's back, because it's like, hey, I have my freedom, I have my health, I have my family. So I'm not a complainer. I don't look at, oh gosh, I lost this. And a lot of people do that. I hear a lot of people crying about the DEI thing. And yeah, is it tougher? Sure. But don't focus on what you lost, focus on what you still have. There's still plenty of opportunities, because you got to remember, like Zig Ziglar said, now the DEI ain't out here, a lot of people are just going to quit and just not even try. So there's less people going after the opportunity. So you still have a great advantage. Where before, with DI going on there, you had more people. You gotta look at, glass half full, half empty. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for someone who's coming from a tough place or trying to turn their life around, what would you say to them?
Anyone can change their life, because I mean, changing your life, you got to remember, wherever you are now, I mean, that's just where you are right now. I mean, it's kind of like a guy told me a story in prison. He told me, hey, look up at the sky. He said, look at the cloud. And he said, if you look up 5 minutes later, that cloud's not going to be there. we're always changing. Now, like people say, either you're growing or you're dying. But if you want to change your life, you first have to look at, one, how you are, and then really look at the things you want to change. But your self image, and I teach this to my employees all the time, they'll tell you this, I say it all the time. Self image controls how you see yourself. If you come home from prison and you see yourself as an inmate, you see yourself as a loser, or you see yourself as a drug addict. That's why I've never liked the thing where, like, with the drug programs, they always say, I'm an addict. If you keep telling yourself you're an addict, your subconscious mind has to give you back. I mean, like they call it your reticulating activating system. Whatever you put out there, if you're looking at red Corvettes and you're interested in red Corvettes, you're going to start noticing them. If you tell yourself you're an addict every day, then to me, mine, it's going to be a harder struggle. But if you tell yourself that, hey, I'm healthy, I'm sober, there's other ways to say it. I'm saying you're an addict, or there's other ways to say it, and you don't have to say I'm an inmate, I'm a criminal. No, you committed a crime. That's just a behavior. That's not who you are. You can't wrap up your whole identity in one behavior.
Yeah.
Tell people, like, look at how to change your self-image. Change your self-image, then that's going to change the way you think. Change the way you think, that's going to change the way you act. When change the way you act, that's going to change your character, and it just goes from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely love that. And what's the biggest mission for Innovated Labour? What kind of long-term impact do you want to make with this business?
Long-term impact would be to provide second chances to as many people as I can, as long as I'm doing this, providing the second chances, providing that stepping stone. Because a lot of people come here, they work a year, 2 years, maybe 2 months, 3 months, and they get a better job. That's the whole purpose of the company. I didn't start it to have people here like for me for 30 years. And I always tell people, hey, if you've been here like 3 or 4 years, something wrong. There's some positions like supervisors and whatnot that do stay long, sure, but like the laborers and things like that, no, you're supposed to come here. You come out of prison, you're in the halfway house, work. And I always tell people, however you work here is going to determine your next employment. Because if you come here and half-ass here, you're going to half-ass wherever you go. A lot of people think, well, I'm only making $15 here, I'm not going to work that hard. Well, if you get a job working 20, you're going to find another excuse why not to work hard there. So bust your butt here, and ones that do it, someone always sees them and they come to me and say, hey, that guy works all the time. Da, da, da. What do you pay him? I say, well, I pay him $18. He's like, man, we would hire him, and they get a better job. The ones that sit around, milk the clock and whatnot, they just come and go. They'll work for a while, then they'll leave, come back. I always tell people, you have to do 100% now to get that job or that opportunity. You're not going to get it and then kick it in the gear and then say, because you're not going to do it. And then also, if you're half-assing at work, you're going to half-ass in other areas of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And for our audience, Troy, how can they get in touch with you and find out more about what you do?
Phone number is Labor and Cleaning, and it's 513-818-8008. The email, I just kept a generic email. It's innovative, INNOVATIVE, clean1@gmail.com.
Thanks so much for Troy. It's been fascinating. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, all the best to you.
Thanks a lot.